Hello, my name is Samantha Nivens, and for my final presentation, I will be talking about the Disney movie Meet the Robinsons. I will be discussing Cornelius Lewis Robinson, who goes by Lewis. Lewis grew up in an orphanage, struggled to get adopted, and didn't remember his birth mother. His birth mother dropped him off during his infancy, and Lewis has struggled with her absence ever since. Lewis is extremely intelligent and loves science and inventing. However, he struggles to build connections with the people around him. A theory that would apply to Lewis is his avoidant attachment style. Children with this attachment style often are seen to have insecure attachment with their caregiver, are often seen as independent or reserved, and struggle to create and preserve relationships. Usually, these children can be seen visually not caring whenever their caregiver leaves or returns, and Lewis has shown those signs. For example, Lewis felt extremely rejected by his biological mother and the dozens of failed adoption interviews throughout the entire film, which this led to his self-isolation, extreme independence, and the overall avoidance of relationships. Lewis also actively ignored his roommate in the orphanage and denied any sort of companionship or relationship that they may have had, regardless of them living under the same quarters for years and having many bonding moments that his roommate considered to be very special. However, a theory that Lewis seems to oppose or go against is Vygotsky's theory of development. To recap this theory, children learn and excel when working with others who know more about the topic or are more advanced than they are. Lewis actively contradicts this theory because he grew up in an orphanage and always excelled in science and inventing. This was never a group effort or direct correlation to an adult or peer being more skilled than Lewis. Although excelled in school as well, he did not talk with his teachers a lot, and it can be assumed that he may have learned from them in some capacity, but ultimately learned from his own trials, errors, successes, etc. This actively contradicts the theory because Vygotsky said that learning advances when they collaborate with others who are more skilled. This would mean that he would need to advance through the work with a peer, adult, etc., both in group and individual settings. This has not been shown. As I mentioned earlier, Lewis experiences avoidant attachment style. This means that Lewis struggles to build and foster relationships due to his numerous rejections experienced by potential adoptive parents and his biological mother. Any knowledge surrounding his birth mother would have allowed him to understand circumstances, potentially build connections with the other orphanage children, and be okay with finding an adoptive family. The changes that Lewis could implement would include dissecting his emotions and past traumas through therapy to help his attachment in current relationships and guiding cooperation of group work to help gain support and community. It would foster his ability to work with others as well as feel less alone, feel like he has a place. An area of Lewis's life that appears to be especially well set up for optimal development is Lewis's extreme intelligence as well as his ability to invent since very early childhood. His caregiver also always gives him encouragement and applauds him of his creativity to his face as well as others. I believe this is important because although I do not see a close attachment to the caregiver, her positive reinforcement strengthens Lewis's desire to invent through failure, rejection, and all of the negative opinions from peers, his own conscience, etc. This ultimately leads to Lewis being able to be his full self, continue to try after failure, and give himself the reassurance that he needs to become a better inventor, scientist, etc. In conclusion, while Lewis may struggle with attachment, he thrives in science and inventing, and his orphanage caregiver reinforces his desire to persevere through failure using encouraging words, actions, and which ultimately lead to his belief in himself and the fulfillment of his highest potential. Lastly, here is the references slide.